So this latest episode, not only do we get that Roxy greatness, seeing what she was up to after especially seeing the close encounters last week with seeing her in the background and just like literally seconds away from Rudy and her re-interacting with each other, right? To then getting some pretty great build-up and I think really showing that Rudy still has a long way to go before he's ready to be as brutal as this world demands. And I'm glad that it is taking him some time and that it does disturb him, and as much as he wants to do things for Rudyard so the name of his people won't be more tarnished, it's something that it's not something you can easily do, and Scum definitely got what they deserved in this episode. Anytime you deal with slavery, especially when it comes to kids, I mean, you're like Rudyard, you want the Scum to pay. Now before we jump any further, we do gotta give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is of course once again Boxu. They always hook your boy up well, so we'll do that real quick and we'll get back into the review. The changing of seasons is upon us, and what better way to kick off the fall season than with this month's unique assortment of Japanese treats from Boxu, appropriately named Kansai Autumn. Boxu is a monthly journey across Japan where each month the snacks and theme will be different. Part of the fun of partnering with a company I actually support for this long is I truly get to see what their product is made of. Sometimes when you hear about monthly themes, such in the case of Boxu, they don't always fit the theme that they're promoting, but Boxu gets it right every single month. And they hit it out of the park with these warm autumn snacks. Now some of my personal favorites from this theme were the waffle sandwich, which kind of was like the best wafer cookie I've had all week, the Yaki Imo treat, which was a roasted Japanese sweet potato, which was the ultimate surprise this month, given I'm not huge into sweet potatoes normally, but leave it to Boxu to prove me wrong once again. And don't forget the cappuccino. Normally I dive headfirst into the snacks, but that drink was called to me as soon as I saw it, and easily was the star of this month's box, as I drank it alongside taste testing all the amazing snacks inside. Each month you receive a cultural guide that will detail each item's origins and ingredients so you don't have to worry about those pesky allergies, and you're always going to know where each item came from. All the snacks come from different snack bakers across Japan, actually making this a journey across Japan. The quality and shipping still remains to be safe and secure and also reliably fast. So do yourself a favor and use my link and coupon code located in the description below. Save yourself some money with my 10% discount code on your very first Boxu subscription. While supporting the channel, and soon enough you too will be waiting for your next Boxu shipment, as I know I do. Wasn't expecting the ending because I guess in hindsight it's a very anime thing to do, right? You know, seemingly the threat was dealt with, but there's one last thing we need to do. Personally for me, when he went back to get the dog, I thought the dog was just going to attack him, right? Because seemingly there was no one left, and if there was, maybe they'd build it up as Rudy had to take life to save his own. Instead you get this cuddly, amazing, wholesome scene where our boy is just, you know, in awe. He's, you know, it's a cute doggo, right? And then he gets knocked out because I guess this is actually royalty and a big old misunderstanding. And I'm like, next week can't come soon enough. I was really down for this episode just being adventure in the sense that there wasn't an overarching plot or an overarching threat, but rather seeing what Roxy's doing, seeing how she's interacting with her own troublesome party. I love the fact that basically you have drunken wisdom, right? He can fight, but for the most part, he's listening to a horny devil and someone who's just trying to be a little too wholesome for her own good. He's just driving, he's talking, he's chatting with his booze mates. You have someone so lustful that I don't even think a gangbang would be suitable for what she does in her free time. To then you have Roxy just moments away from meeting up with Rudy. I would have been perfectly content having an entire slice of life episode watching their party's adventure, because it's an interesting conundrum, right? Who do you prioritize going after first? Who would cause you the most trouble if you continue to travel with them? And Rudy wasn't the highest of priority, but it's interesting to think, had they crossed paths just moments prior, what the situations would have looked like. Would they still have parted ways, or would they have made a different plan? Would they have grouped together there? So that would have been perfectly acceptable. And to no one's surprise, you know, the idea that the man that Rudy saved last week just so happened to be the reason that Rudyard would be able to be smuggled across the ocean. And I'm not totally sure if that is what they were supposed to do, you know, killing the slavers and things like that. If not, that will bite them in the ass, and if so, that will be interesting to see the reactions once, you know, everything is out in the open. But the idea that Rudyard, he's someone with just such a interesting moral compass. At times you think the way he thinks, you know, we need to change that. We need to evolve that. But in the case of this episode, I mean, I was right there with him. I mean, it's hard because in a perfect world, maybe Rudy a few years from now, he could have done that. He could have maybe just done it cleanly without the horror show. But for him, right now, healing magic and, being a little in awe that cat girls are actually a thing and not just playful like he's used to, you have a powerful moment, right? And it's interesting because the idea of beast people is something that I think a lot of fantasy shows love to roll with, but I love the idea that it's something I didn't even think about until they were partially to the way of like freedom, so to speak. The idea that they reacted like, hey, there was someone else there, but the priority was them. So, of course, Rudy being sort of a decent guy and sort of a questionable guy all at the same time, one, wants to impress, but two, generally doesn't like the idea of what went down there, so of course he'd go back there. And I really like that. I think there's some interesting situations that are going to occur over the next handful of episodes, because even though it's definitely a misunderstanding, I'm not sure how soon Rudy will be able to explain his way out of this, because clearly, they're going to track down someone who, obviously you don't want to judge a book by its cover, but this world has already proved that Rudyard is a character who gets judged like a book by its cover. Him walking with a bunch of children slaves is not gonna look good. It looks a bit better when Rudy's there because he can be like, no. So I do think there's gonna be some bad things, and for Rudyard, anyone who tries to take those kids are slavers, so he'll try to fight back, and if his bandana goes away, you can kind of see the chaos and how it will form, even though seemingly two sides are wanting the same thing, which is freedom for people who are being enslaved. And it's interesting that they chose to have one fatality there, because they couldn't save one. And I think that serves more than one purpose. One, you get the shock that, yes, death is a thing, and death is always going to be a constant reminder that you can't save everyone, though those who are still breathing have a very good chance at recovering as if they were never hurt before because of great healing magics and things like that. The idea of Rudyard, someone who walked into that cell, probably made all of them shit their pants, to then showing that act of remorse, like, I apologize for not being able to save you. It's the emotional moments that I think really define a show like this, that its characters are just so well done that, yeah, there's the perviness and the horniness, but the thing that makes this world so great is, one, the fundamentals that define it and the way different species and magics kind of are integrated into this society. But the character moments, especially between Rudy and Rudyard, are probably my favorite in the show right now. Rudyard is such a morally complex character with good and bad traits, as pretty much all the characters have. I always have loved that this show puts the focus that no one is perfect, and the people who have made a lot of mistakes or have a clouded worldview, now that they're traveling with different and like-minded but also different-minded people, their mindsets and worldviews will open up more and more, which is such a fantastic storytelling point for a show that is just one big epic adventure, that you can have situations with Roxy just dealing with her party, searching for people, and that can be just as exciting and interesting for me as a jailbreak for freeing slaves from horrible scumbags. This show is quality. It's been quality for quite some time. I still think it has one of the most unique aesthetics that not only just isekai, but just fantasy anime in general has had. I love the filtering grains that are kind of applied to the characters. And it's really interesting because I really think at any point you could switch perspective for a month's time. And what I mean is we could have focused on Roxy and had her dominate the screen for 4 episodes. And while, yeah, there would probably be a decent amount of people saying, oh man, I want to see my boy Rudy, I want to see Rudyard, I want to see what's going on. But I really don't think this is a show that is defined by one character's set of eyes, but rather anyone who is more than just a one and done character, like the smuggler as an example who helped get Rudyard across the ocean. He could be a one and done side character, but if he remains relevant, any character's perspective can be so fascinating because the different lifestyles, the different upbringings, and what they feel like is the main central plot point for their story, because in reality, everyone is the protagonist of their own story, and whatever they believe in matters the most. I just love that this is a show confident enough that it can switch, especially because it would have been very easy to just cut down that very easy to forget content of just having someone planning about who to look for, going to a tavern, having some fun scenes, some sexy scenes. But no, everything matters because everyone's a person in their own way, and this show's just fantastic. I'm always blown away, and It'll be fun to see where they take it from here. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, and definitely theories on where it might go after that kind of kidnapping, after freeing kidnappees. But let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoy, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.